Hello traders and investors, welcome to Wealth Down, where we build and protect health. This is the weekly recap. We're going to go over market action, consumer spending, global and macroeconomics companies spotlights, earnings recap, and of course my trades, all of this and more just in a couple of seconds. So let's get started with this week, August 11th till the 15th. The markets hit new fresh all-time high, as you can see in the S&P 500. Relative strength pulling back. So this is on Friday, we just got a little tinge of pullback. But before that, although, despite of hot inflation numbers, the strong consumer spending, and hopes that the Fed will cut rates in September, kept the rally going until Friday. Friday, we did have a little bit of a pullback. Now, let's dive into the top events and earnings that moved the market. And as I said, at the end, we're always going to do my trades for the last week. Okay, so let's take a look at the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, also the Dow Jones, all closed with new record highs. Although, as I said, in a pullback on Friday, the small caps also jumped to 6-month peaks. Investor sentiment stayed strong with nearly $9 billion flowing into the US equity funds this week, only this week. So just think about it. As always, tech kind of led the way, while communication services and healthcare saw a slight outflow. But keep in mind, we did have a major news. Also check out that video that I did on Berkshire Hathaway buying some United Health stock. So Warren Buffett just bought some United Health, or was it or not Warren Buffett who bought it? And also some major investors also bought it into the dip of United Health. Let's just take a look at here at the chart of United Health. So check out the video that I did before this. It's kind of a deep dive into United Health. Here's kind of where they bought, and after that the stock declined and they had their earnings, and after that it took off once more after the news. So as you can see, maybe there is a chance for United Health coming back to the 600 peaks, although they're currently at 304, so 50% decline from their peaks there. Now let's talk about consumer spending, because the consumer resilience continued into driving the markets. The July retail sales climbed 0.5%, signaling that thousands are still opening their wallets. Retail leaders like Costco, which saw a big decline, upgrow here in the next couple of weeks, but after, let's see, a Monday and Tuesday had it peak, and then on Friday kind of went nowhere. Also, Netflix and Spotify all benefited from this momentum. Now, analysts are also turning their eyes to Nike. Let's take a look here at Nike, which is maybe or not the recovery story of 2025, with a new leadership change at Nike and tariff shifts positioning the brand for the potential turnaround. Now, who knows? We're going to definitely keep an eye on Nike. I'm currently not invested in Nike. I'm just going to wait this 20-day moving average to really take hold of the narrative. And if it does, then I would be definitely interested in Nike. It still pay out a really nice dividend of 2.04%. But hey, what's the dividend worth if the stock keeps going down? So let's keep an eye on Nike and stay subscribed to the channel for more Nike news, of course. Now let's go to global macro, because on the global stage, a tariff truce between the US and China fueled optimism, while traders continued to bet on Fed rate cuts into September. But don't forget that tariffs weren't completely off the table. Potential Trump announcing new measures targeted semiconductors and steel, which sent, by the way, where is it? Where's a little Intel stock? There we go. There's Intel, and it sent it surging, as you can see here. Full disclosure, I'm a major Intel investor. I do suffer under its huge pullback from 50 to now 24 after this big surge, but it was down at 19 even at one point. Now, will this hold? I don't know. Keep an eye on Intel definitely for more news on this particular development. In Europe, Shein, which jumped a bit, which posted for 13% jump in the UK sales, outpacing rivals like Boohoo and ASOS, and also the Associated British Foods made a headline with its acquisitions of Hovis. Now, that's it for Europe. Now let's move to companies in spotlight, because I have a couple of companies we need to talk here. So several companies stole the spotlight this week, especially Amazon, There's a little Amazon fellow here. Let's take a look at this chart. This expanded its growth due to the major news of its grocery delivering services to more than 33,000 locations, pushing the stock higher and higher, as you can see here. Also, let's move to CoreWeave. So definitely to keep an eye on Amazon. I'm a major investor in Amazon. I do have great hopes for this company. Let's also take a look at newer IPOs like CoreWeave, which sank sadly after their earnings. Although they did report, well, what did you expect? 17% missed. They're a fresh company. They just IPO'd. Oh, fresh IPO company, not a fresh company necessarily. Now let's also look at Applied Materials here. You can symbol AMAT, which way down in the semiconductor space with cautious guidance. Though you can see their earnings did really good. They reported a 5.66% surprise on their earnings and on their revenue, so earnings per share, and on their revenue they had a 1.11% also beat. So 5.66% beat and 1.11% beat on their revenue. So they beat earnings still. They did have a major sell-off, also maybe being a short-term buying opportunity here for a pullback. If we do here just a small, let's just do from here to a Fibonacci retracement from here to here. It seems currently not working. Nevertheless, I think this could be, because we do have a head down hammer here candle. This could be a short-term buying opportunity. Long-term investment, I don't know. I will not express myself on Applied Materials right here. Just don't know enough about the stock. Now, moving on, meanwhile, Ford, which unveiled its new EV platform, calling it a modern Model T moment for the company, did have a bit of a surge here. So let's just see what Ford does. I wouldn't bet my money on Ford. Let's just see what they have to recover from the highs of 2022. Well, they're down over 50%. So I wouldn't bet on a major comeback story from Ford. They do have a nice dividend of 5.66%, but at this devaluation, I don't know. I would not be interested currently on buying Ford, only if they come up with some major robotics. Okay, now earnings were mixed. So let's do a little bit of recap from the week. Earnings were mixed, but mostly positive. AMC Enterprises, let's take a look at them, also had surprised investors with $1.4 billion, almost 1.38 here, 1.38, estimated about $1.34 billion, so a 3.23% beat. So, and also did a break-even earnings per share here. Also Cisco, let's take a look at Cisco, which does have a major pullback here on Friday. They did beat Wall Street expectations, 1.32% on earnings. So earnings per share estimated was 0.97 and reported was 0.99. Also their revenue, they beat on revenue, $14.67 billion. And they also highlighted a $2 billion in AI infrastructure orders. Now, across the border markets overall, let's just take a look here in S&P, 8 the tariffs. So they did, and they also beat the expectations. So let's just see what the future quarter 3 holds. Now, that's the wrap up that's it for the wrap up. Now let's jump to my trades. Okay, so trades for last week or this week, we are recording here on Sunday. The market is closed. Last week we did a net profit, so net, this is after taxes, everything, $489, and we're up on the month of August with $738, having a better month than July, but underneath of June. May, of course, was perfect, and you see here, July was basically my worst month. I did a couple of mistakes for July. Nevertheless, let's go further into week number 33. Let's see what we did here. So on the 11th, sold a little bit of MELI, which is Mercado Libre. So this was on the 11th and made a 27.8 euros. Now this is gross. Obviously, it's a net profit of $23.9 then. And I'm just playing around here with MELI. I'm waiting for a much better pullback. MELI is one of those stocks that I really love, Mercado Libre. It's still here. Let's see. We're on the yearly it doesn't know what it wants to do. I think it wants to have a far greater pullback down here somewhere, maybe in a green zone, and that will be just perfect for me to capture a bigger position into MELI, Mercado Libre. So let's just close this right now. Now, furthermore, I did sell off a bit of Apple. I'm not quite done with this position, still on the 11th. What is now? It was on the 12th already, and I made a 134 euro gain there. After taxes, that's $115. Now, let's take a look at Apple. So my plan here is to, let's see, we had a pullback. Let's do here. Yeah, let's do here a Fibonacci extension. So let's do a Fibonacci extension, something like that. This. So the plan is, actually, here's where the pullback was. The plan is to hit new all-time highs with the current position that I still have, and then sell even more of it. And let it run until it hits the 1.61 Fibonacci extension. If it doesn't, and it pulls back to, well, I just say, if there's a major pullback, then I would consider buying more Apple. If not, I'm going to hold it until it has either pullback or reaches the 1.61 Fibonacci extension. So that's the game plan for Apple, and we're going to execute on that. If you have any kind of other ideas on the stocks, please leave them in the comment section below. I'm not bullish nor I'm bearish on Apple. I'm pretty much neutral currently on Apple. Okay, let's go to the next trade that I made, which is Costco. On the 12th, sold a little bit of Costco, made 17.7 euros, which is $14.68 net profit on this. Remember, we are here at 1.60, almost 1.17 conversion rate euro to US dollars. So for 1 euro, you're going to basically get $1.17. I'm in Europe, so I have no choice. But I'm still investing in American companies because I believe you cannot go wrong with the American companies. Okay, now I also received a dividend from Apple. Oh, boom. But this is a dividend, div, and this is on the 14th. This was basically a 9 point, which is adjusted. So wait just a second, I have to still, it's actually 12.88 euros, which comes then down to 47 euros, and that's a net of $11.08 for the dividends. Also received a small dividend from Costco on Friday, which was just a 6.67 euros. Now, that's it for this portfolio. In the other portfolio, I received 2 more dividends. As I said, the other portfolio is no longer a trading portfolio. It is being converted into a dividend growth portfolio, so the trades will be limited on that. But I did receive, also on the 15th, from Realty Income, ticker symbol O, a 23.01 dividend. And from Procter & Gamble, ticker symbol PG, also on the 15th, a 66 euro dividend. And that's it for the last week. So let's do a little summary here. A 211 euros net and a 247, which is a $247 net for the last week, which is pretty much underneath the $500 target that I have, but it was a cautious week. Also, let's do here a short summary. So we had a sell on Mercado Libre, 27. Let's just do it in dollars. So sell on Mercado Libre, $23. Then Costco, $14. Apple, $115. Dividends from Apple, $11. Dividends from Procter & Gamble, $56. Oh, we got to say that this is a dividend. So it's a dividend. Div. I'm going to copy this. Then I made my recap here. Okay, update it, and also need to update you. You would also a dividend didn't sell you. And also from Costco, smaller dividend. So let's just see that a little bit of from our income did come from dividends and not from sales. As I said, I was really cautious last week. Also didn't buy that more, didn't sell that much. Didn't buy that much, didn't sell that much. As you can see, really cautious week. And I actually think we're going into an even more cautious week. But you know what? Let me hear from your thoughts. We're currently on August, $985. And we still have, two more weeks to go. Take a look here at the calendar. We have, 2 more full weeks to go for August. So who knows? Maybe we do reach that $2,000 benchmark that we're looking for. Okay, that's it for Wealthtown. Like and subscribe to the channel. Don't miss out on these recaps, also my ideas. Don't forget, next week, Fed Chair Powell, the Fed Chair. Let's take a look at the events for the next week. We have on Monday, nothing, but on Tuesday, we have building permits and housing starts. Then on Wednesday, we have FOMC minutes. On Thursday, we have the existing home sales. And then on Friday, we have Fed Chair Powell speech. So it's going to be an exciting week next week. Definitely keep an eye on your portfolios. Also, stay subscribed to Wealthtown, where we build and protect health. I'm Novin BM, wishing you a prosperous week. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.